Hello students, the topic about which we are going to learn in this video is iterative or loop statement. But before that, let us revise about the different constructs that governs the statement flow. Now we have three constructs. The sequence of normal flow, it is the linear method where it goes in a sequential way. The statements are executed one after the other. The selection or conditional flow depends upon a certain condition, which is your if else statement or your switch case statement. And today's topic that we are going to discuss is iteration construct or repetitive statements. Now what is this loop iteration statement? It is a repetitive structure that allows a group of statements to be executed repeatedly as long as the given test expression or condition is satisfied. The iteration statements provided by Java are for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Now you can see I have highlighted the test expression or condition. Now again, if I revise back to your decision making statement, you can recall in the if else statement when a particular condition or expression was executed to be true, it was branching either to the true statement, or if it was false, then it was branching to the statement in the else block. So in the if else statement, we had seen two-way branching, and in switch case, we had seen multiple case branching. But in our loop statements, what happens? A particular condition, when it is satisfied to be true, the group of statements is repeatedly executed for a number of times. Now, as you can see in this program, you can see this is a simple program to print the first 10 natural numbers. Now, this program has been done using the for loop statement. Now, you can see the in red color, the initialization has been highlighted. In blue color, the test expression has been highlighted. And in green color, the update expression has been highlighted. And the body of the loop has been highlighted with the brown color. So you can see the loop starts with the initial value of 1 for I. So I is initial, it is a single variable that we take. We initialize it to 1, and then it iterates every time, increasing the value of I by 1. That is my update expression. So as long as this value of I is less than or equals to 10, this is my test expression, that till I is less than equals to 10, the loop body in the will display the natural numbers, that is a value of I. So we can see that the value of I starts with 1. If it is less than equals to 10, then it is printed. So 1 will be printed. Then it increases to 2. Again 2 is less than equals to 10. So again 2 is printed. Again it increases to 3. And this process goes on till the value is 10. When it becomes 11, the condition becomes false and it comes out of the for loop body. So now you can understand that there are four important parts of a loop. The four important parts are initialization expression, test expression, update expression, and the body of the loop. Now, the initialization expression, you can see I equals to 1 is my initialization expression. Now, before entering a loop, the variable that controls the execution is initialized. The initialization of a variable may be inside a loop or outside it. Whatever it may be, it is executed only once before the iteration starts. So let us see some examples of this initialization. Now you can see this is normally I have written a for loop. Now first you need to understand that int I means declaration of a variable. Now declaration of a variable is different from initialization. Now declaration of a variable means you are associating a variable and defining that what type of data type it can hold, what the values of what kind of data type it can hold, and what are the associated values or functions that can occur on that variable. And initialization is that you give a basic value to the variable. So declaration means you assign it with a particular kind of data type and the related functions to it, and initialization is the first basic value that you give to the variable. Now you can see over here the declaration and initialization both I have done in the for statement, and then I have my test expression I less than equals to 10 and I plus plus is my update expression. Now the same program you can see I can do my declaration outside also. So I'm declaring my variable outside, and if you want you can also, you can just simply declare it outside, and I'm initializing the variable inside the for loop. Now another case can be, one more case we can have is, you can see now here I will do both the initialization and the declaration out of the for loop. So you can see I have both declared it and initialized it out of the for loop. Now you can see the initialization place I have left blank, but the semicolon is there. So you can do the initialization out of the for loop. You can do it within the for statement, but the initialization cannot be done within the for loop. So you need to declare and initialize the variable out of the for loop or in the for statement, but not within the body of the loop. And it is always done once. The initialization of the value is done once, and after that the updation and the test expression is repeatedly done for the body of the loop. As long as the body of the loop, the test expression is true, it goes on, the action is repeated repeatedly. Now, the test expression is a condition which decides whether the loop body will be executed or not. Till the test expression evaluates to true, the loop body gets executed, otherwise, the loop is terminated. Here, till the value is less than or equals to 10, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Till there, the loop will continue. When I will increase to 11, the test expression becomes false. The flow of control comes out of the loop body also. Update expression, it changes the value of the control variable. Here the control variable is I, it is increasing by 1. The update expression is usually made to execute before the next iteration. Before every iteration you can see I is increased by 1 value. Body of the loop, the statements that are executed repeatedly as long as the test expression is true forms the body of the loop. Here we have one statement system.out.print I, so it was repeated till i's value is less than equals to 10. Now there are three types of looping statement. They are for loop, while loop and the do while loop. In this video we'll be concentrating on the for loop basically. Now you're already acquainted with the procedure of writing the for loop. You can see I have declared the variable outside over here. You can declare it within the for loop also. Then in one line you can see the initialization, the test expression and the update expression all lies in one statement itself. And then we have the body of the loop. So let us do a program based on our for loop. Now the same program that I have displayed on the screen will be executing it. You can see over here, this is the same program. I equals to 1, I less than equals to 10, I plus plus. I compile it. No errors. This is the correct format. After executing, now you can see it has printed me the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now suppose I just remove this println, and in place of that I write a comma and I compile it. Now you can see the difference. Now here it was in every new line one value was being printed. Now you can see in the same line the values have been printed. You can see. So this is also the difference between system.out.println and system.out.print. Now let us do a program to print the even numbers between 1 to 20. Now you can see already I have done the program. Initialization value is 1. I less than equals to 20, I plus plus. If I is completely divisible by 2, So it's an even number. You know the logic of even number. If it's completely divisible by 2, then it's an even number. So the number will be printed. Now I'll compile it. You can see for yourself the output. It will print me. You can see it is printing me all the even numbers between 2 to 20. Now another way of doing the same program, instead of writing this line, what you can do is simply we can increase my update expression by 2, and the counter will start from 2. So you can see I have what I did. I changed my initialization expression to 2. Update expression and your test expression is less than equals to 20, it remains the same, and my update expression and increasing the value by 2. So instead of checking, now the same result you can see it will come. It's the same result you can see. So the initialization expression changed to 2, and the update expression. So in this way you can change the update expression. Instead of having I plus plus, you can have it I plus equals to 2, so it will step by 2 value. If you want 3, then it will step by 3 value, and it goes on in that way. Now the next question we'll solve is write a program to find the sum of even and odd numbers from 1 to 100. So how to do this question? You can see the range is already given 1 to 100, and to find the sum of even and odd number. Now you can see this program I have already done over here. You can see the range. I have taken two variables, SE equals to 0, accumulator to show the sum of even numbers, and SO an accumulator to show the sum of odd numbers. I'm taking the range, the variable, the control variable I starts from 1 less than equals to 100, as the question says that we have to check for even number between sum of even number and odd number between 1 to 100. So then I'm checking if the number is even. How do I check for even? If it's divisible by 2, then SC equals to SC plus that value. Else it's an odd number, it will be added to the accumulator SO, and out of that, outside the for loop body, I'm printing the even and the odd number. So after compiling, you can see when I run the program, you can see the values. It's the sum of the even numbers between 1 to 100 is 2550, and sum of the odd numbers is 2500. So next question, you can see the program. Now the next program that will be doing is write a program to accept 10 different numbers and display the greatest and the smallest of the numbers. So randomly we will accept any 10 different numbers from the user and display the greatest and the smallest of the numbers. So we go on to solve this question. Now you can see already I have solved. It says that randomly any 10 numbers. So I'm taking a for loop between 1 to 10, and then I'm accepting a number within the for loop. You can see the value is being accepted within the for loop. Now I've taken the maximum value to be 0, minimum value to be 10,000, because if you can take any value in min, because if it's less than, it's better you take a higher value so that we can check for any smaller number. So if the user enters 500, 2000 in the minimum also, it can be checked. So then every number it will be compared. If that number entered is greater than the maximum value, then it will be stored in the variable max. If that number entered is less than the minimum value, it will be stored in the main variable. Now I'll do a dry run for this program to show you. Now I've taken three columns. One column I'll take for n, one column I'm taking for max, and one column I'm taking for min. Now max initially has the value 0 and min has the value 10,000. So now I take when any random number I take in the beginning, let's say 56. Now as per the condition, the value 56, the number is greater than 0. Yes, I can see 56 is greater than 0. So max will have the value now 56. Now in the same way, min you can see, is 56 less than 10,000? Yes. So it will show the value 56. So let's say the next number I've entered is 4. Now it will check, is 4 greater than 56? No, it is not greater. So it will not be saved over here. But over here you can see 4 is less than 56. Yes. So the value changes to 4. Same way, I take a variable, let's say 67. Now we check over here, is 67 greater than 56? Yes. So it will change to 67. The max value becomes 67. But 67, is it less than 56? No. So there will be no changes over here. Then let's say I have 1. Is 1 greater than 67? Because the last value of max is 67. No. So there will be no change over here. But over here what happens? 1, it is less than 56, 67, 56. So it will change to 1. Mean value changes to 1. So you can see over here the last value. So max is having, in this way it goes on for 10 different number. Now the last number saved in max is 67, and the last value stored in min is 1. So finally it will print in this way. So over here what happened, the loop goes on to accept different value. The value is compared with the value in max and min. Max was initialized to 0, min to 10,000. After that, if any value is greater than max, it is stored in the variable max. And if any value is less than the variable in min, it is stored. So the last value present in max and in becomes the largest number, and respectively in min, it becomes the smallest number. So these are few programs on for loop. In the next video, we will be doing more programs on for loop. So thank you. These programs you will find in the description box below. You can go through it once again over there. Thank you.